Coming up in this week's episode, Amazon bricks the Astro robot, Microsoft's security notification ended up in the spam folder, and AI is slowing down. Is the bubble about to pop? And then we'll wrap up with our Null, Not Null recommendation section.
Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice, but here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Sarah Kimmel, and Bobby Davis.
Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm Kevin Doyle, and this week I am joined by Bobby Davis and Sarah Kimmel. Make sure to stick around till the end for our always awesome AI-generated weekly themed outro song. We've talked about this robot here before, Amazon and their robotics department. They released, remember we talked about this last year? The Astro robot that you couldn't actually buy at the time that we talked about it. Well, it went on sale. It went on sale 10 months ago, and they're now killing it. This robot was pitched as a security device for small and medium businesses. Specifically, this version of this robot was, I should say, because there are two versions. There's a home version and a small business version. Well, they're killing the small business version. They basically sent out a letter, or an email, I should say, to customers saying that these will stop working on September 25th. So not a massive amount of time if you are a business to be able to put something else in place if you're relying on this for whatever security you're relying on this for. Because this robot basically roams your halls, if you will. It has an HD periscope, they called it, which I'm guessing is just the camera on top of the thing that you see there in the image. Yeah, it has night vision. It could also carry small devices. Not quite sure what that meant or what the purpose of that was, but it had the option to carry small devices. And you can control it by Amazon Alexa. So I guess you could say, hey, go patrol my halls and tell me if kind of something moves or whatever. It's kind of a little security robot, right? So the email that they sent out to customers, though, they did say that they're proud of what they built, but they made the decision to end support for Astro for Business. And basically any of your data will be deleted and you will no longer have access to it after a certain point in time. And they're encouraging those purchasers to recycle the Astro, because apparently, even though this is the same robot, it won't work on the home version when that eventually comes out. By the way, this is a $2,350 robot that they're not leaving like users out in the cold here. They are going to refund them the full $2,350. They're giving them a $300 Amazon credit and telling them any prepaid subscriptions they will get back. The only thing you're out at this point really is any ongoing subscription you had while it was like in use, I guess. So 10 months worth of subscriptions, whatever that costs. It uses a Ring subscription. I don't know what it costs, but that's what it is. But the home version, you can still buy. Still in the works, apparently. So they haven't quit this. It's a $1,600 home version. Doesn't have the big antenna on the top, but has the little thing that, otherwise it looks the same. I don't know if it is any different. You can't actually buy one. Remember, this is the thing we talked about? You have to get invite only, $1,600 to buy one. So here's my question to you. Firstly, we don't have an invite to buy one of these, so we couldn't. But would you buy one at this point?
I said the same thing back when we talked about it before. Like, it needs to have, like, for a home version, it needs to have some more features. Namely, I would think it should at least have a vacuum, right? Like, if I'm going to use this as a home device, it should also be a Roomba.
True. Why doesn't the Roomba just do all this extra stuff instead of this extra stuff trying to get a Roomba? I'm with you on that.
Right? And then instead of Astro, you've called it the wrong thing. You should call it Rosie from the Jetsons instead of Astro. I mean, it's not a dog, it's the maid. So, I think it's super missing the mark. I think if anything, it should kill the home version and keep the business version, because I could see some legitimate business use cases for something that can just kind of roam around the halls as a security device.
Yeah, there were no stats on how many they sold, so I'm guessing they're just like, well, we'll try this.
3.
And exactly. I think so too. I think it's dozens. So we're not even talking hundreds, I wouldn't suspect. It's literal dozens, and they're like, well, we're not going to annoy that many people when we kill this thing.
So if you need a roaming security option, don't you think a dog is a better use case? Like a Rottweiler?
Like the Robo Dog?
No, just a regular
Rottweiler.
Rottweiler.
Oh, a real dog. A real dog. I think it's a Robo Dog with a flamethrower.
But you have to feed the real dogs. So
he's a lot more of a deterrent than this thing is, though. If you're worried about, you need a security dog.
Well, I don't think this is going to deter anybody, but it will record them.
Yeah,
like
this just
until
lets you know that
until
somebody
they
stole the
smash
stuff from
it.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Your Rottweiler collects DNA, though.
True.
He does DNA collections.
Yeah, I gotta say at this point, I don't have a lot of faith in the fact that if you were to get an invite to buy this thing, that they wouldn't just shut it down like they did the business one. Because I just, again, you're right. I don't see
shutting
the
this
use case
thing
for
down,
it.
man. Like they are. Like they just. I don't know what they're waiting on.
I know why. Yeah, well, I guess because it's invite only, maybe they're just not inviting any new people, so it's as good as shut down.
Right.
They know they're not going to sell anymore, right? Unless they invite people to buy them.
Yeah.
So I guess they kind of soft shut it down without an official shutdown. Because again, I mean, it depends on how many people they've invited, right? But what are they going to do? Refund them all? Again, I just can't believe that it's that many business customers. At $23.50 a pop, and let's say thousands of people bought them. That's a lot of money they'd have to give up. I don't think they would willingly just do that if it was that many. I think it's a few.
That
I don't really care.
Probably in the real thing, it has problems moving around the room. I know they say it doesn't, but Kevin has a Roomba that seemingly has a mind of its own. Every time we get on a phone call, his Roomba comes to the door and says, "Hey, I'm lonely."
It does. It's so loud. It has the worst timing ever, doesn't it? We literally get on a call and I'm talking to Bobby and it's been downstairs like cleaning, and all of a sudden it's literally at the bottom of the stairs, like making noise. And I'm like, hold on a second, I gotta turn this thing off. And then it gets stuck on a cliff, which, bearing in mind, it doesn't go upstairs and there are no cliffs. It gets stuck on the edge of a rug and sends me a text message saying I'm stuck on a cliff. So I can't imagine that this thing is any better than that. I agree. I just can't imagine it's any better. So yeah.
So I feel like Kevin he doesn't know this yet, but he's the star of a horror movie, the Roomba horror movie. And he gets lonely and jealous, and you can see it just banging against the door at night.
It's the possessed Roomba.
Yeah,
maybe.
I need to clean your bedroom.
This one would be a bit creepier, right? Because this is a little bit more. It looks a little bit more. I don't know. It's got a face almost, right? A Roomba doesn't have a face, right? It's got eyeballs, right? So this one looks a little bit. This one could be a little bit creepier, chasing you around.
Yeah, this is the star of the next Blumhouse movie, you know. So
I think there's a Black Mirror about this actual robot, and if there isn't, there should be.
There should be.
But yeah, $1,600. I gotta say, I'm not feeling so good about this. A year ago, I'd have probably been like, oh yeah, I'd love to buy one of these. But now, maybe not so much.
Well, the main thing they show is it projecting on the wall to watch something, which was always weird to me. Like TVs just do that better and always will.
Yeah,
it just seemed weird.
Well, it's like the Samsung little like robot guy that does the same thing. Also projects. But what's confusing to me, like if I was head of Amazon Robotics or whatever, before I sold these for business use, I have like 1,000 warehouses that I could deploy this to see if it's like something businesses would want.
Is it remotely useful?
Like, I'm Amazon. I have access to a lot of warehouses. Like, wouldn't I deploy this in my own facilities?
I do wonder,
first?
would they, if anybody works at Amazon, please send us a message, because I would love to know if you have these in your offices. Like, you would think that would be the perfect place to test this, right? It's like a literal Amazon office, because there's lots of those.
Well, I can see this if you're having like a work argument with your boss or whatever, and you call the Roomba over or whatever this thing's called. Astro, come here. Tell Frank I'm not coming to work on Friday.
Or you call in and being like, hey, I can't come in, but I'm sending in Astro. He can take care of it today. It's just a couple of meetings. He'll do it all.
Tell Frank to answer his own emails. Tell him that's what I said.
Well, so here's where, okay, I can see the home use case, because this is where I thought you were going with that, is when I'm fighting with my husband and I'm like, no, this is what I said. Hey, Astro, pull up what I said last week.
Now, that's definitely a Black Mirror episode.
And then it's like, oh, here's the conversation you guys had last week about it.
I can just see it
like,
being snarky towards the husband. Listen, Bob.
Well, he's pre-trained to be this way too.
Sarah said like, this.
He knows what's best for
listening.
Yeah, exactly. So there's the home case for that. But like, you know, because this is where I thought you were going with your boss. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm fighting with my boss about something. Like, okay, let's go to the tape.
Go to the tape.
Come on.
Yeah, I just I don't see these being particularly useful in this form, doing what they do. I think they need to do other things. I don't think we need this as a security device. I think we've solved the problem it's trying to solve with cameras and with doorbells and those kind of things. I get trying to tack it to that stuff, but it needs to do something else. They said it can read traffic to you and those kind of things, but I don't think that's enough. You have
so can my Google Home.
Exactly. We have another solution for that. It's like it's trying to shoehorn its way into a bunch of stuff that maybe it doesn't need to be in robot form to do.
Yeah, in fact, what is the use case? What, like, can you think of one thing, like, let's say just invent a thing that it could do? I just don't know what it is. Like the traditional, like back in the 80s, where people used to bring mail to the office, they used to bring them by on a little tray. It seems like this thing's 30 years too late. Yeah. Because we have email now and like, we don't need you to bring me the package. They just send it to me.
Yeah. I guess the question is, do you need an Amazon speaker that is portable? Because that's essentially what this is, right?
Right.
Do we need that following us around? I don't think so.
Could it get me snacks? So. Like could it do that?
No.
Go to the vending machine.
To somebody. I guess you could say like go to the refrigerator if it would know where the refrigerator is, and be like, or go ram into my wife's leg and just like have a picture of a soda on the screen or something. Like, and she'll put a soda on you and then come back. Yeah. Exactly. Because that'll work, right?
That's gonna happen.
Exactly. No, the robot would be in the trash in about a week.
Astro, go tell him what he can do with that soda.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah. It doesn't solve any problems. I agree. It just doesn't.
So imagine you get an email from Microsoft that says, hey, your account may be compromised. Oh, wait, no, I've seen that spam message 100 times. So, of course, when Microsoft actually sends a legitimate email that says your account may be compromised, most people deleted it thinking it was phishing, or it went to spam mailboxes. Like even in people's Outlook, the official message from Microsoft went to their spam box about this hack. Or, you're just going to ignore it because it looks like every other spam message. So what happened here is a Russian nation-state hacker group, Midnight Blizzard, penetrated Microsoft defenses last year, accessing emails of multiple customers. So in June, Microsoft was like, oh, hey, we need to let our customers know about this issue. Yeah. I know, right? So instead of where you would see it, like in my portal and like a nice big banner where it says, hey, this happened. No, they decided to send an email to everybody that looks exactly like every other phishing attempt email that I've gotten to try and compromise my Microsoft account. So guys, tell me, would you have paid attention to this email if it came across your inbox?
Well, I don't know if it did because I wouldn't have. So
no, exactly.
We're 365. We run 365 here, so like we're on Teams, Outlook, the whole 9 yards. So
yeah, and I definitely didn't see this. So if I did, I did exactly what I ignored it. Yeah, I think it speaks, and that's the problem, right? It speaks to a bigger problem, doesn't it? It speaks to a bigger problem around phishing. We get so many of phishing stuff at Coder Foundry. It's insane how many phishing emails we get. Some very generic and really bad, some really targeted and actually quite good when you start looking at them, that you become desensitized to what those things are. For sure. I don't know what the solution is here from a technology standpoint, but there has to be some kind of a solution to authenticate them better, have them filtered from trusted sources somehow better, stop them getting through. I mean, they try spam filters and things, but clearly they don't work.
Yeah, because I did not change the HR handbook today, Kevin. That email came out this morning. I saw that. I don't know if you saw that. So,
I didn't. What was that one?
The HR handbook had a new clause in it. You had to go read it to find out what it was.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. We get those all the time. They'll be quite specific, and they'll be quite specific and niche to us too. They'll understand like our company structure sometimes, and they'll understand who Bobby is and who I am, and they'll try to make an interaction between the two of us. I mean, I don't think they realize sometimes that we talk all the time. And it's just like, it's one of these things to be like, I was like, I know you didn't send me that. Like, no, I didn't. No. Like, but we get them all the time. Yeah. Super targeted stuff. It's a problem.
It's a huge problem. some targeted messages that I've seen, my sister has one employee and she got an email from this employee saying that she needs to change her direct deposit information. But it was not from her employee. Yeah. Like, so highly, highly targeted information. So an email like this comes across and you're like, yeah, that's not legit. I think the better solution, you are Microsoft. Most likely they're using Outlook on their, you have to log into Outlook, Office 365 on the web, or you're using an Outlook client or something like that.
Yep.
You're Microsoft. You can put a banner in these programs. Like, you don't have to send an email. Like, and not only can you put a banner inside the program, so like say I log into my Outlook on Office 365, I've seen banners. They have banners on the
I see them all the time. Yeah, there's always something stupid happening, or overly technical usually.
Right. So I'm like, that's where you need to put these notifications. And then as an admin too, if you only want to notify the admins, you could put it in the admin section, and you would need to keep it up there longer because I'm not, most likely the admins aren't logging into their admin portal
every day
often.
Yeah,
right.
Large companies probably are, but like small companies no.
It's usually for us. It's usually me when somebody forgets their password. Like I
exactly
reset the password.
Which did happen this week. So
which did happen this week. Yeah, exactly. I had to reset somebody's two-factor. So like it happens.
Right. Yeah. So this hack is like a year ago. It's not like this information is like needs to happen right this second. So like keep the banner up for like a year. Hey, this happened, and your account might.
You think we're just at a point where email has now become useless? Is it so infested that we just I don't know, it's just there's too much junk in it now and there's not enough real information in it? Is it a mix of spam and phishing attempts and junk mail, and there's a million things go in that box? How often do you get an email from an actual person that is a one-to-one communication with you? It's very rare these days.
Seems like it. I guess it depends on what your job function is, but like in general, I think 90% of my email is spam.
Yeah. And so that's actually a really good point. I would say that if I am like most people, I think still need email because, there is that one-to-one communication, but we need to start thinking about what's the next thing.
Yep. I agree.
Because you're right. It's such a mess. Things are going to get lost. Like my family tech email is just a disaster because, that email address is out there. And so I get so much junk in there.
Yep.
My personal email address isn't as bad because, Google filters out, puts it in the inbox and then puts like my Amazon orders and everything and like updates. And so it kind of filters that out for me, but I still have to like manually go into the update section and the promotion section and like try and kill everything. So yeah, whoever comes up with the next thing for communication, I think is gonna
something that replaces
really win
email.
out.
I agree. Something that replaces email that is more, I don't know, authenticated. I guess it has to be, right? Like you should be authenticated somehow as a user and maybe as a receiver, and maybe there's, I don't know, is this a good use for blockchain somehow? I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe there's something to be said there for that.
Sure.
But it's, I think you're right. I think that next level thing is it's going to be big.
You would think AI would figure this out.
Right.
We'll talk about that next.
We're gonna talk about
I was like, speaking of, I think we might have something on that.
All right, the AI revolution we all thought was a big thing. Is it busting? Is the bubble here? It looks like it is. And so there's three reasons for this. First off is the usefulness of AI. We really haven't found the next killer app yet. Like, what is it really good at other than, like, I keep making this joke, but like, what is it good at? Meme creation.
Chit chat, kind of.
Chit chat, bad blog articles, kind of good YouTube thumbnails, like that's kind of where it is, and then the cost of running these things is exorbitant. I think we're just now going to see where people have raised money for a certain service and these things will start contracting because, you can only run so long. on VC money. Eventually you have to turn a profit. So my question is, do you think we're going to see the bubble quicker than we thought? And like, what is the big thing? We thought that this was going to change the world. And then we find out it can't do drive-through orders. It can't fix email. I've yet to see it code a web page that's competent at a professional level. It can make a web page. As far as replacing coders, we're like decades away from that, you know. And everyone's telling me wait till ChatGPT 5 comes out, and I'm like, still waiting.
They said that about 4 when we had 3,
Yeah.
so
Still waiting. And then we've made some incremental updates at this point, but I don't think there's anything big coming, and we haven't yet seen it replace doctors, lawyers, or any kind of market segment where we're like, oh wow, that's a game changer. We haven't seen a game changer yet. So what do you think? Do you think this is going to bust? What do you think?
Well, and every like game-changing try at use case has failed incredibly. Like you just said, it can't take drive-through orders. There was a lawyer who, and we talked about that guy who tried to use ChatGPT in his legal briefs. Did not work. It's lying left and right and things like that. Like there's just, it's so bad that it may kill itself before it even like has a chance to gain some traction.
Yeah. My thinking is, I think there is a short-term and a long-term here. I think there is a short-term bubble that will burst, but I think long-term it sticks around, right? So I think part of that problem is that I can't remember who this quote came from, but it's not an exact quote, but the idea here is that we overestimate short-term improvements and underestimate long-term ones. So we expect like the same big wow moments consistently, right? We had our wow moment with GPT when it was released, right? When ChatGPT came out, that was a wow moment. This is work that had happened for a decade before, but the implementation of it was a wow moment. And we've had a few since when generative AI with imagery and with some of these video things and the songs that we make at the end here, those are all wow moments. But I think we've had those now on this current implementation. I think improvements are now going to be incremental improvements because people have to remember how these things fundamentally work. The difference between ChatGPT 3 and ChatGPT 5 is just the amount of training data they give it. It's just more data. That's all. It's just ingested more data to train more stuff. It's not fundamentally different in any other way. It's ultimately going to do the same thing, which giving it more data may be smarter. But here's the problem. We've given it all the data. We've literally fed it the internet. We fed it 2 decades worth of knowledge, right, from the internet. And while you may say the difference between this year and last year, yes, maybe the internet's grew by 20% or whatever it is, the amount of data on it. The problem is at least half of that data that it's grown by was AI generated. So this comes back to the same thing I talked about before. It is the machine feeding itself. And I just don't think that ends well. I don't see that being a good thing and ultimately kills it. Because we know that let's say that you take the internet growth and then you take half of that as being AI, we know probably half of that is also wrong because it generates incorrect things. So if you're just feeding it more incorrect things, its output's going to be more incorrect. Right. I just don't see it being good. I don't think we've got another wow moment in this generation.
And so I want to be clear what I think is going to happen. Like you can look at OpenAI's numbers and they doubled in revenue in the last 12 months. So they're at 3.4 billion. I haven't yet to seen if they made money or yet or not.
Well, because they're not telling us
right,
yet,
yeah. So 3.4 billion in revenue, top line revenue, but no one knows how much does this actually cost to run. It's got to be
it's not
more
making
than
money.
that. They would say if they were
100%.
So the question I have is when I talk about like, is there a bubble? How many ChatGPT products do we need? And like, can Google win, Claude win, and IBM and Oracle and all the other large language models? And can OpenAI, all of those guys, are we going to pay $20 a month for multiples of these? I don't think so. No. And then there's going to be some free ones that come out that you can run locally on disk and they'll get smaller. And if they're like 85% of what a full-fledged $20 or $30 a month ChatGPT is, I think that's where the vast majority of the market goes. And someone will take something like that and just give it away for some other reason. You know, and so will it be integrated into everything we do? Maybe. But I don't think the consumer, the direct to consumer may not pay for it. And that's where you might see suddenly these features go away because it costs us $1 billion a year to put AI in Instagram. And they're like, what are we doing? Like, do we really need AI in Instagram? It worked.
I was really using it.
Yeah. It just becomes an expected feature, right, of the thing. I guess that's the thing. It's kind of like buying a TV these days and them saying it's HD. Well, duh.
Yeah, I mean,
of course it is, right?
Right.
Whereas like 10 years
it better
ago,
be 4K.
right?
Like-
10 years ago, that would have been like the big feature, right? That would be a differentiator.
Right.
You would need that in your TV. Now it's going to be like, well, duh. Of course, it has an LLM chat interface. Like, why would it not? Like, it's just going to be a commodity. And I think they're going to be powered by a couple of them. I think that's going to be it. My opinion, we're going to see Google and whatever, Microsoft, and maybe that's going to be it.
And I thought by now we would see like distinct LLMs that do distinct things, and like no one's caught on to that. I'm really shocked that the lawyer LLM, maybe some lawyers could call us in and say, hey, I'm using this. It's a research assistant. It does pretty well. But I've yet to read an article where large law firm says this has changed our workflow. It doesn't replace lawyers, but it's changed. I haven't seen that yet.
Because it doesn't.
Right.
Because they can't trust it.
Right.
It's literally the biggest trust thing you need as a lawyer. It has to be correct. Because you're going to present it to a judge and he's going to say, if it's not correct, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, you can go to jail.
So it has to be correct.
Decided,
There's no way they're going to trust it.
It's
not trustworthy.
I have friends, people say it's going to change. The one thing they were saying that it would diagnose better than a doctor can do. And I have friends that work at a large hospital here, and they're trying to like look at CT scans and all these images and trying to diagnose things. And they're kind of far away from that, even though there's multiple full-time people. It's not like they're not smart or not doing good work. I'm sure they are. It's just not quite there yet. And so the big thing that this needs, like, is it email? I mean, like email had all of these ancillary uses that generated billions of dollars because you could send an email to someone and they would buy something. I don't know where the utility of AI is yet. Can it help us write a blog article? Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's the ultimate end game of that, though?
Yeah.
To fill the internet with AI written blog articles that feed back itself? Like, that's...
More pink slime?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the question remains like, okay, so let's say you have a company and let's put it frank. OpenAI needs 100 million users at $20 a month. There's got to be 100 million people using this. So is company A with 400 employees say, you know what? Everyone needs ChatGPT.
No.
I don't think they are. I mean, like, it's just like,
100%.
We have 2 copies of it at our offices. So like no one else needs it. Some of us have Copilot. I have both, because Copilot is a convenience factor for me. I probably could get rid of ChatGPT, but I use it in a different way and I use Copilot in a different way. So I actually pay for 2 subscriptions. So I feel like I'm on the upper echelon of the use base that would buy 2 versions of this to use for 2 different things. But not everyone's in that use case.
Yeah, the best thing that I am using AI for in my job is, so I have agents and they talk to my customers all day long.
Okay.
Right? And I am looking at this ticket and I have a phone call, right? We have AI in our ticketing system where I can just say summarize call and it like gives me a summary of what happened in that phone call. And that's fairly useful, but it's not always accurate still. So
I say there's a lot of nuances in a phone call between 2 people, right?
Right.
And when you've recorded it, and then I'm assuming it's transcribing the call too, right? So you're getting a transcript of the call, and then it's summarizing that transcript of the call. There's a lot of nuances that happen there, especially when, let's say that somebody like, they jokingly they're like, hey, would you like to do this? And they say no, but they really mean yes. And it's like, and the nuance means yes, right? And the person on the other end really genuinely knows that, but the AI doesn't know that. It's like it can't get context and nuance and those kind of things. It just doesn't understand that because ultimately you're just giving it text, right? So, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So again, like while it's somewhat useful, I still have to go back and listen to calls all the time. Like it's not really taking away a lot of my job,
right?
And
when we were looking at Presto, the other AI order taker for Wendy's and I think Carl's Jr.'s, and it seemingly does a really good job. And then you read, no one tells you how much it costs, but they said it will save you 1 FTE a year per store. And you're thinking, okay, if you multiply that by all the Wendy's stores, you're like, oh, that's billions of dollars, but 1 FTE per store? And then you got to think, I got to put hardware. I know I've got a monthly fee on this thing. So like, how much money am I actually saving? And that's when they throw in, well,
none. You're costing
it seems
more.
like it would cost more. And then your accuracy goes down on top of that, whereas the human will eventually always get the order right. And even if
Right.
it's wrong, they can help soothe the customer and say, hey, sorry about that. I thought you said double. You meant a single. Just keep the double. It's on us, you know. And
I think this is part of the problem with that is the initial investment is too much, because I'm assuming the recoup time for that, right? It's probably, let's say it's 3 years, let's say it's 5 years. It's something in that mark. The problem is that technology, you have no idea if it's going to be good for that amount of time. You have no idea if it's going to be good, period, to start off with, because it's not, right? It's not great at doing what it does now. Does it get better? Maybe not. So are you going to keep it that amount of time? Because there might be backlash from customers that says, well, I don't like the AI ordering system at Wendy's because it never gets my order right, so I'm not going to go there anymore. And then it tanks your business. And you're like, well, now we just got to, we can't use it anymore, right? We've got to listen, we've got to scrap it, so go back to employees, just wasted all that money.
But what if Presto is working on VC money and they're paying ChatGPT, $100 million a year in hopes of that they would sign up every customer, and they don't, and suddenly they can't make their OpenAI bill and they just pull it.
That's a bubble.
Right. So suddenly you can't take orders.
We're talking about.
And so while that's a risk with any technology, we don't think about that things in utilities. Like, is this company just going to go away and quit giving me internet? More than likely, no. Is the power going to go away? Are they going to quit delivering power? No. Is there a reasonable chance that the company that's running an LLM model for the service that I rely on could go out of business because it can't pay the internet bill? And it's like, yeah. Because this is costing billions of dollars, and people don't estimate, like, well, how much are the chips? It's not just the chips. It's the power. It's the footprint. It's the space. Yeah. Or if you're renting it, OpenAI is charging them. They have to charge an arm and a leg for this to get back their recoup. And
this is why I think there's a short-term bubble here, because of those costs, because you have the initial costs of the chips, very expensive.
Yeah.
So the initial infrastructure part is extremely expensive. Then you're right. Then there's a power issue. Some of the data centers that are running these things are using the same power that entire countries use.
Yeah, or it's the power. Like, I read a story in Texas where some of these are running in Texas. Like, they're using the power of an entire city, and so they have to the grid can't support it. So what do? Well, they have to figure out something else. Where literally Mark Zuckerberg was saying, we're going to have to invest in nuclear to do this, and you're like, does someone need to stop and think before we build a nuclear reactor? So what if this doesn't work out? We have just a nuclear reactor sitting out here in Meadowland. It's cool to have, I guess, I mean, Batman probably has a nuclear reactor. So why can't Mark Zuckerberg have one? So, but it just seems like, what's the end game? What is the app? What is the thing this thing's ultimately going to be, that's going to do, that's going to change the world and reduce costs, reduce jobs, reduce employment?
I'll also say people underestimate on the cost side of things as well. People underestimate or don't necessarily understand how it works and why there's an energy cost at all. It's because of the compute cost. It's because of how these things work. It's because every time you send a message to ChatGPT, let's say in this instance, it's calculating. It's running through the GPU. It's running cycles. It has to do something. It's not like Google search where it's cached.
Right.
There is no cache here. It's not running through a cache. It's going in, it's sending data into a black box. It's computing using power, and then it's spitting something out. Every single time you interact with it, it does that. That cost is insane.
It's insane. And so, I do think we're going to see some bubble here. Some companies will go out of business. Is it this year? I don't know. But at the cost rate, the spin rate, you're going to see it happen. And so people think it probably won't happen. It's going to expand indefinitely. The internet didn't expand indefinitely. You can look at Cisco's stock price, and it was very high. It looks just like NVIDIA does today. And then it went down, and that never recovered, even though we still continue to build out the internet. We still continue to build it. It got commoditized, got cheaper, and you can't cost this much to have something this expensive with low utility. The internet was way more useful than AI is right now. I just think, I don't know if it's a revolution or is it a product. I'm not really sure what it is yet.
Yeah. Something you guys said just made me think about the movie Social Network, right? When he's talking to Justin Timberlake, who is representing the guy who invented Napster, right?
Yeah, Sean Fanning.
And he says, hey, you want to get a Tower Records, or you want to go to Tower Records or something like that? And it's indicative of when Napster failed massively, but was the like kind of starting point for everything that is happening now, where Blockbuster doesn't exist, Tower Records doesn't exist, all of these things that have changed because of that technology, basically. And like, if he didn't invent it, somebody probably would have eventually. But our current streaming genre basically started there. And I feel like kind of the similar thing to AI, where like this initial implementation might fail and we'd see a lot of like losing steam, but it's gonna change the way a lot of things are done in the future.
That's exactly where I look at this. I think there's a short-term bubble, but there's long-term play here. I think it sticks around. I think there's other inventions in it. I think there's other things will happen. But we're at this point now where, people spent $50 billion on chips, just purchasing the chips last year. These companies then made $3 billion in revenue. Like, you can't have that. Like, that's so,
and they're not
so
even showing us
one-sided.
the power bill.
Right, exactly. And that's just on the hardware.
That's just the hardware.
Or the people, or, the amount of people they have working there. So, like,
you can only run it for so long this way. And I think I also think there's some kind of underhandedness here too, because I also think they have to keep the money coming in. They have to keep convincing people this is the next big thing. And the way they keep doing that, I think, is deceptive, because they keep talking about AGI like it's just around the corner. You hear Sam Altman talking about this all the time, because he knows as soon as they stop talking about that and the possibility of that goes away, because it has gone away. It's not happening. I'm calling it right now. LLMs are not the gateway to AGI.
It really does.
They will
feel
keep telling
like
us that
hot
to bring
dog
money
in a lot of ways. A more fancy version, but like, when they said is hot dog, and he looks at it and he goes, "Is that all there is?" And he goes, "Yeah."
Right.
I mean, the initial thing, oh, that's kind of cool. Can it do a hamburger? No, it's hot dog. It's like, okay, that's it. Okay. So is this just going to write blog articles and make memes? I would put the art, like Kevin does a real good job with AI art, but I would still put it in its mid-tier.
Yeah,
art
it is.
Compared to what other people can do and what we would do, but a lot more time. It's cheaper. It's faster.
Right.
Idea generation, research, that's kind of cool if you can rely on it. But far as like ending all human work and putting us on universal basic income, I mean, like that's a pipe dream, man. That's not.
And that is a dream they have to keep selling, though, because they have to keep selling that dream to keep the money coming in. That's it.
I also think Copilot in my iteration that I have right now will eventually be free, because I think people will eventually quit paying for it.
Oh, for sure.
And so like, or they won't have enough people to pay for it, therefore they can't afford to operate it. Yeah. And I think that's the same thing with ChatGPT at $20 a month. Really? What happens when they come out and go, you know what? It's $39.99 now. How many people cancel?
Oh, so many.
I don't think the price can go up. I
don't think they're Netflix where they can do that, are they? Where they can continually go up and say no password
Netflix
sharing.
isn't $40 a month.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot for what you would get with ChatGPT.
Yeah. So I just think there's a bubble coming, and it's just not what everyone said it was. The thing that I want to caution people on is they shouldn't make life-changing decisions like what job I'm going to do, what education I'm going to pursue, based on this threat that it's going to end a certain segment. Yeah, and whether that's coding, lawyering, or doctoring, or customer service, or whatever they think it's going to replace, it's not going to do it. I don't even know if it can replace customer service people. I really don't. I think a company would go out of business.
I agree. I don't think it will. There's too much pushback. There's too much pushback against the technology side of it. People want to work with other people.
Yeah, and just remember, we've tried this before with they call it IVR systems, where you could talk to it or push buttons, and they tried to eliminate customer service that way. And the first thing you do is hit 0 for operators. As soon as you hear it, you'll 0. Because you wanted to talk to a human, because you didn't want to talk to the thing. Yep.
So I have a stat for you. So I literally, because I deployed a chatbot for our company and I programmed the chatbot and everything. But the first thing the chatbot asks you is, do you want to chat? Do you want to talk to somebody real?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So out of 362 chats that get initiated, 185 people, this is just over the last 7 days, 185 people said yes, they want to talk to somebody.
Wow. There you go. That tells you instantly. It's more than half. Instantly just don't even want to deal with it. Which makes you think when a company puts all their eggs in that basket and they force people into that.
They quit using the product.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. They're going to get, they're getting the soft no, right? They're just getting the, no, I'm not even going to bother anymore. Like, I have a feeling that Wendy's is going to see a decline because of that AI drive-through. I think we see them just abandon it just because of that. Whether it works or not doesn't matter, because people will just say, I'm just not interested in talking to an AI to get that order done. It's like, it's a difficult thing to overcome, but I don't think they're going to have the kind of the stamina to overcome it.
That, and I think it's going to be more expensive than they think.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't save them money, and it doesn't give you 6% upsell. I don't know if it can do that.
I don't know. That's what they say. You want a?
Do you want fries with that?
Yeah. You want a Frosty with that?
They just throw it in there and add it to the bill. I mean, that's how they can do it. You know, like, oops, sorry about that. I'm just an AI.
Oh.
I get things wrong. Sorry.
I didn't want 100 iced teas, but
I guess I'll take them.
Give them to me.
Can at least get them in a gallon jug and not in individual cups.
So this week I have both a null and a not null. So firstly, my controller for my Xbox finally gave up the ghost.
Okay.
So remember I had this as a not null before? Because I love this controller. It was this one. Look. Oh,
like you had this. Oh,
this one.
Okay.
It looks cool. Look,
and that's the Elite,
sure.
right?
Of the Elite 2.
I told you, man.
Okay.
I know. So here's what happened. I didn't have the usual issue. Apparently, one of these buttons on the top here no longer functions.
Right.
Like it's intermittent,
right?
Which is a problem when you're playing games, right?
Right.
Like,
sure,
it doesn't work.
One of the buttons just doesn't work.
I love this controller though. I love the way it feels. I love everything about it. It's good. So I was so tempted just to buy another one. I'm just like, I just bite the bullet and buy another one. But these things are like $200. So I was like, So I bit the bullet and I bought a different kind of one this time. So I did a little bit of research. I ended up with the Turtle Beach Stealth Ultra.
Okay.
So this one has a screen on it. It has RGB lights on it.
What's the screen do?
So the screen allows you to remap all the buttons.
Okay.
It allows you to get social messages on it.
You get what messages on it?
Social messages.
Does it integrate with like Steam or whatever?
I don't think it's Steam.
Like in-game chat?
Probably Discord.
I think it does in-game chat. Discord, WhatsApp, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can push to it. Yeah.
Bobby's mind is blown.
So it's Xbox and PC only. There's no PlayStation versions. There's PlayStation.
Yeah, who cares? PC's the only one.
Exactly.
Anyway.
It has buttons on the back too, for back buttons, which are great. It also has button triggers, so you can set like an actual like button trigger instead of a pull trigger.
Yeah,
with a little switch. Super good feature.
Fun.
Is it sweat-proof on the bottom? Can you get little grippers?
It has grips. I don't know. It has grips on the side. But here's the feature that sold me on this too. It has something called Hall Effect sticks. So these sticks are zero drift. Anybody that's into gaming will know that stick drift is the killer. They never ever get stick drift. They are stick drift free. So you can set your sensitivity, if you know about this too, to 0. Stick drift sensitivity of 0, and the stick does not move in game. There's a problem with all of the controllers.
So I'll tell to Sarah if you're watching. So like if you're pushing your pointer to shoot someone like that and you let go, it should go back to the same spot. Sometimes it'll go like that. And then the same pull comes up and it's just not the same distance. And it goes like that or go like that.
Yeah.
Goes like that.
Yes.
And you're always trying to connect it with your thumb.
Yeah. When you move your stick, it always moves back to center.
Sure.
And it'll always move back to exact dead center. Whereas this controller, over time, will get stick drift. You'll do the same thing and it will be slightly to the left or slightly to the right.
But can you turn it around and play it backwards, like this with your fingers like that? So.
I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be good for you, Sarah. I have no idea.
Can I play it?
That I cannot answer. I mean, yes, they're expensive. I'm hoping it doesn't die, so it's my not null for now. Until, ask me again in 12 months, because maybe it'll be my null if it dies over that period of time. I don't know.
Here's why I might buy one tonight. So I am a PC gamer, sit on the couch, and all of my game crew is on Discord. And so sometimes they are chatting messages in Discord for call-outs.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like on a couch on a 75-inch television, but really far away. I can't read it. And so they have to tell me a lot of times, or I have to put an iPad up and try to look at it. dude, if it was right there, that would be hot.
So I don't know what messaging services it connects to. I've not.
So that says
WhatsApp.
It has to do Discord. Like it's a gaming.
Go to compatibility. Go to compatibility. Yeah, I mean Discord would.
But in-game chat, even if it was in-game chat, I mean, it should work for in-game chats.
Yeah, so you can actually. It has voice controls on here too. There is a headphone jack here on the controller as well, so you can connect your headphones directly to the controller as well if you don't have wireless ones, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can control the sound through here as well. It has different sound profiles straight through the controller.
Yeah, so you can turn down one guy in Discord is what I want to do.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but yeah, it's cool. Definitely cool. So far, yeah, it's cool. I've had it for about a week or so. I've played with it a few times. Like, yeah, I played with it over the weekend. It's
not batteries, a charge deck, or you plug it in to charge it?
No, a charger. There is a little wireless charger. Or not wireless charger, but it is wireless, right? You just sit it on it.
So can you charge it while playing? Do you have a cord for it?
There is a cord option in the back of it, yeah. So you can, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. There is a cord.
It's super important for those, those 8-hour raids, like.
Right.
Exactly. It comes with a case too, like a nice little case, like the Pro controller comes with as well. Comes with some extra thumbsticks, some of the little, I think what you get with it. Some of the little attachments you get with it, thumb topper, whatever's. Right. The difference is you can't change, like on the Elite 2 controller, you can't change the actual sticks.
Yeah.
You can't change the stick height, and you can't change the D-pad. They are what they are.
That's fine. Those so it's less fell off anyway. Sometimes they're magnetic and they fall off.
Yeah. If you drop it, you drop one under your couch or something, it's gone.
I hate those things. I had one.
Yeah. This doesn't have that problem.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, highly recommend at this point. We'll see in another 12 months. Plus, because I loved this other one too, but
just don't take a bath with it.
Plus, I know Kevin well. That purple and pink button that had you sold right then and there. That little gradient there. You love that gradient.
Yeah,
colors.
It's good, right? Like it does look good.
It's good, right?
Of course, the RGB is going to kill the battery. There is that too.
Yeah.
I think it has 8-hour battery life, something like that, with the RGB on. I think they claim something like that.
Okay, as long as you can charge it while playing, then that's
you can. You can definitely plug it in and charge it. Yeah, while you're playing with it. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. A couple of things I can ask you to do. Please let a friend know about the podcast. Please leave us a rating and a review somewhere. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and choose to subscribe and get notifications of all new episodes. You can also drop us an email. Where can they drop that email to, Sarah?
The totally not ironic, the Not Null Podcast at AOL.com.
That's it. Fill our inbox with email along with all of the spam that we get there. And we'll see everybody next week.
It was a Saturday night, I was feeling just right. Gonna game, gonna fight. But my controller had another plan. It was done, it was fried, left me hanging, man, what a sight. Buttons sticking, triggers flicking, my KD ratio, it was sinking. Oh no, I can't believe my trusty old pal just had to leave. Oh, Xbox controller, you broke my heart. Now I'm off to Amazon to fill my cart. Gonna find a new one, hope it lasts forever. Cause this game in life we can't sever. To go 100 colors in a row. Which one do I pick? Who really knows? But I grabbed the one with the fancy lights. Maybe this one won't give up in the fight. Battery dying, connection flying. All these years still relying. Oh please, your brand new thing. Let's see what joy you bring. Oh, Xbox controller, you broke my heart. Now I'm off to Amazon to fill my cart. Gonna find a new one, hope it lasts forever. Cause this game in life we can't sever. We can't sever. Now I'm back, locked and loaded. New controller, my hands devoted. But deep inside I know the truth. One day soon I'll be back in that booth. Oh, Xbox controller, you broke my heart. Now I'm off to Amazon to fill my cart. Gonna find a new one, hope it lasts forever. Cause this game in life we can't sever. Yeah,
And glad I'm not kidding. This won't last forever.